Imagine walking into a clinic, sitting down with a genetic counselor, and being handed a catalogue. In it, you see options: increased intelligence, athletic ability, resistance to specific diseases, eye color, height range, and even behavioral tendencies. You're not shopping for a car or a home, you're selecting traits for your unborn child. It might sound like science fiction, but in the not-so-distant future, this could be reality. This scenario isn't based on fantasy, it's based on rapidly advancing science. Technologies like CRISPR-Cas9 have opened doors that were sealed shut for most of human history. For the first time, we're able to precisely edit DNA, the molecular code that determines everything about how living beings develop and function. But what does it mean when we start applying that power to human embryos? What happens when we go from curing disease to designing life? The idea of editing a baby's genes before birth isn't just theoretical. In 2018, a Chinese scientist named He Jiankui stunned the world when he announced the birth of twin girls whose embryos he had edited using CRISPR to make them resistant to HIV. The global scientific community was outraged. His experiment was deemed unethical and reckless. He was imprisoned, stripped of his position, and the experiment was widely condemned. But the event triggered a much larger conversation, one that is still evolving today. What are the limits of gene editing? Should we restrict it only to eliminating serious diseases? Or should parents be allowed to go further and select desirable traits? Could we create a future generation of designer babies, and what would that mean for humanity? To fully grasp the implications, we need to understand how gene editing works. CRISPR-Cas9 is a molecular tool originally derived from bacteria. It functions like molecular scissors that can cut DNA at specific locations, allowing scientists to remove or replace faulty genes. It's precise, relatively inexpensive, and revolutionary. When applied to embryos, it can theoretically correct genetic diseases like cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, or Tay-Sachs before the child is born. This could prevent immense suffering, reduce healthcare burdens, and even extend lifespans. But when you open the door to modifying embryos for health, it becomes hard to close it before stepping into enhancement. What if you could eliminate the risk of Alzheimer's? What if you could ensure your child would never develop certain cancers? What if you could add a few IQ points or enhance memory and focus? Even if parents claim they're doing it for their child's well-being, where is the line between therapy and enhancement? Supporters of genetic editing argue that it's a natural progression. We've always sought to give our children the best opportunities, through education, nutrition, and environment. Isn't giving them the best possible genetic foundation a continuation of that desire? If we can prevent suffering and improve human capabilities, shouldn't we? But the ethical concerns are massive. One of the biggest fears is inequality. If only the wealthy can afford gene editing, we risk creating a society where the privileged aren't just richer, they're biologically superior. Imagine a future where social classes are defined not just by money but by genome. A genetic elite. This could reinforce existing disparities. Children from wealthier families could be genetically tailored for higher intelligence, better health, and greater physical abilities, while others remain vulnerable to disease and disadvantage. The result could be a deeply divided society, one that makes today's inequalities seem mild by comparison. There's also the question of consent. An embryo can't choose to be edited. What if a child grows up and resents the decisions made before they were born? What if an enhancement has unintended side effects? Our understanding of genetics is still incomplete. Traits like intelligence or behavior are influenced by many genes and their interaction with the environment. Editing one gene might help one thing but harm another. History has also shown us the dangers of trying to control human reproduction. The eugenics movement of the early 20th century, which promoted selective breeding and sterilization, left a dark stain on medical ethics. Many fear that modern genetic editing, if misused, could echo those same mistakes under a more scientific disguise. Religious and cultural perspectives further complicate the issue. Some see gene editing as humans playing God, interfering with natural or divine processes. Others argue that if the knowledge exists to prevent suffering, it's immoral not to use it. There is no universal answer, only a complex web of belief, values, and science. Let's consider the scientific risks. Genetic editing in embryos is still a young science. Mistakes can happen. Off-target effects, when unintended parts of the genome are edited, can cause unknown consequences. Mosaicism, where not all cells in the embryo are edited equally, can lead to unpredictable development. Long-term effects are still largely unknown. Regulation is inconsistent across the world. Some countries like the United Kingdom allow gene editing in embryos for research purposes but not for implantation. Others, like the United States, prohibit federal funding but allow some private research. In places with weaker oversight, risky experiments might be conducted in secret or with minimal ethical review. On the other hand, many researchers are working responsibly to explore the benefits of gene editing. In recent years, gene therapies have cured rare diseases in children, restored sight, and helped cancer patients achieve remission. These advances are incredible and show the power of genetic science when used carefully. The potential isn't limited to health. As we understand more about genetics, it might become possible to improve cognitive function, delay aging, or even engineer resistance to viruses. Some futurists envision a world where humans take control of evolution, customizing themselves and their offspring to meet the challenges of an increasingly complex world. But evolution works over millions of years. Do we have the wisdom to direct it in real time? Let's say society allows gene editing with strict limitations, only for disease prevention, not enhancement. Even then, gray areas emerge. Is short stature a disease? Is being prone to depression something to be edited out? Where does medical need end and personal preference begin? Imagine a future where genetic editing becomes as common as vaccination. Couples meet with a genetic counselor as part of standard prenatal care. They receive a profile of their embryos and select the one with the best health prospects. Some go further, enhancing potential athletic ability, musical talent, or emotional resilience. In this world, natural conception becomes rare. Children are born with curated genes. Over generations, the baseline of human capabilities shifts. Future humans may be taller, stronger, smarter, but are they still human as we know them? And what happens to those who choose not to edit, or can't afford to? Social pressure could mount. Why didn't you fix your child's dyslexia? You knew the risk of diabetes, why didn't you eliminate it? Parenting could become a competitive arena where success is measured by genetic outcomes. Education systems would have to adapt to children with varying genetic baselines. Sports would face questions about fairness. Relationships might be affected by genetic expectations. Even dating apps could one day display genetic profiles alongside hobbies and interests. From a geopolitical perspective, countries might race to produce genetically enhanced citizens, leading to a new form of arms race, this time with DNA. Nations that fall behind could see it as a threat to national security. Global treaties may be needed to regulate enhancement, much like nuclear weapons. There's also the possibility of genetic hacking. If editing tools become widespread, malicious actors could use them to alter genes unethically, or even create harmful modifications. Biosecurity will become as important as cybersecurity. Amid all this, one truth remains: the science is advancing. What seemed impossible 20 years ago is now a matter of debate. In the next 20 years, we may see gene editing clinics open to the public. Laws will evolve. Societies will adapt. And humanity will be faced with a choice: to guide evolution, or to be guided by it. The future is not written yet. Whether gene editing leads to a healthier, more resilient humanity, or a fractured, unequal one, depends not on the science itself, but on how we choose to use it. If you found this journey into the genetic future thought-provoking, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to One Fact a Day. We explore the biggest questions shaping our world, one fact at a time. See you in the next video.